Right. So IT, bidang IT itu um, is a very competitive industry,
Mm.
and it is has been a male dominated industry for decades.
Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera kepada para penonton dan pendengar. Selamat datang ke episod kedua podcast Sembang Papadom. Saya Salmi Cik Meh, hos anda untuk kali ini. Podcast Sembang Papadom ini merupakan siri podcast di bawah Pusat Pembelajaran Digital dan Multimedia Politeknik Balik Pulau yang akan membincangkan topik-topik terkini, isu semasa, pendidikan, teknologi, kolaborasi, pencapaian, perkongsian pengalaman dan pengetahuan tetamu jemputan dari pelbagai latar belakang dan bidang. Baik, Sembang Papadom kali ini ditaja oleh Dimaira Layer Cake sebagai penyedia kek lapis premium. Bagi yang berminat untuk mendapatkan kek lapis premium ini, anda boleh menghubungi nombor telefon yang tertera di skrin. Baik, Sembang Papadom ini akan membawakan kepada anda tetamu eksklusif bagi setiap episod. Jadi, untuk episod pada kali ini, kita ada tetamu yang sangat istimewa yang kita bawakan khas ya kepada warga Politeknik Balik Pulau khususnya, iaitu Madam Catherine Lian. Okey, selamat datang Cat. Thank you very much for being able to make your time to come to Politeknik Balik Pulau. Warga Politeknik Balik Pulau sangat mengalu-alukan kedatangan Madam Catherine ke sesi podcast kita pada kali ini. So, apa khabar Madam?
Terima kasih banyak ya Puan Salmi. Terharu banget ya saya dapat diundang ke podcast Sembang Papadom. Nama saya Catherine Lian, aslinya dari Malaysia. Saya sekarang berpusat di Singapura sebagai Vice President mengurusi ASEAN Region ya.
Okey, baik. So itu adalah jawatan terkini yang dipegang oleh Catherine ya. Baik, saya pasti dalam karangan para penonton dan para pendengar ingin mengetahui latar belakang sedikit Cat ya. Kita tahu Catherine adalah orang lokal, orang Pulau Pinang, but kita tidak pasti di mana lokasi yang khusus. So mungkin Cat boleh kongsikan sedikit dari mana asalnya and a little bit about your education background.
Right.
Okay.
Hi. So it is a privilege for me to be here. I am born Penang Nine. So proud to be based out of Kuala Lumpur over the past 5 years. But a true Penang Nine. And I was born in Green Lane. If most of you know the location. And coming to Polytechnic Balik Pulau is dear to my heart kerana bapa saya aslinya dari Balik Pulau.
Oh.
Yeah. So we commute around to Balik Pulau when I was younger. Before I was actually based out of many countries in my current and also previous jobs assignment.
Mhm.
And it's quite unique as I have been in the IT industry over the past 28 years. I've obtained my education in economics. Yeah. And many of you know that along the journey that I've been in IT, a lot of conversations has been asked why major in an education platform that an institution that is not relevant to IT. So my sharing is that in the past, over 2.5 decades ago, STEM is not a very popular upbringing in terms of a provisioning to the educations that's easily accessible as compared to today,
Okay.
right? Many in 2.5 decades ago would not have seen the progress of IT education as we've seen. Case in point, Polytechnic Balik Pulau, what has impressed upon us is that they are the only polytechnic that has offered ICT, the Khusus ICT, as a major focus. And by the way, before then was the only ICT course in provision, and that's what that has attracted large conglomerates like ourselves, IBM, to invest in together with partnership with Polytechnic Balik Pulau.
Right. Okay. So we're indeed very privileged to have you to pick Polytechnic Balik Pulau as one of the center to actually share the online facilities and whatnot. Okay, Kat, sebentar tadi ya kamu itu ngomongnya dalam bahasa Indonesia kan? So saya pasti ramai dalam kalangan pendengar yang mungkin curious. How is it so that you manage to converse very well in Indonesia? So would you like to share something about your fluency in the language itself?
Right. Aku dapatnya offer dari pengurusan yang lama itu dari Dell Technologies waktu 2013 untuk migrate out to a country called Indonesia.
I see.
So back in my assignment, back then I was a managing director for Dell Indonesia, and that's where I picked up bahasa Indonesia untuk selama 7 tahun di sono.
Oh,
Ngobrolnya juga asli, but most important is that because bahasa Malaysia and bahasa Indonesia, in my opinion, especially on the slang, is quite different except for bahasa rasmi. So I picked up by speaking every day. Tiap-tiap hari aku ngobrol sama teman-teman di kantor atau di rumah, and aku punya tutor ya untuk 2 tahun.
okay.
Dari dulunya itu amat susah ya untuk ngobrol kerana cukup beda ya.
Yeah.
Tapi udah fasih. Sekarang mau ngobrol bahasa Malaysia susah dikit
Sukar
ya.
ya? It's a bit difficult for you to tune back to bahasa
Yeah.
Melayu. Okay, bercakap tentang Indonesia, tadinya kita bincang tentang bahasa. So kalau something different yang maybe yang Kat boleh kongsikan, what is your favorite Indonesian food? If you may
Right.
share with us.
Okay, my favorite Indonesia food itu nasi gudeg ya.
Oh.
Nasi gudeg itu dari Yogyakarta ya.
Ah.
So aslinya itu is quite the same as nasi padang, if most of you would know.
Yeah.
Tapi bedanya aja dia ada buah nangka dan sosnya itu lebih manis ya. So tiap-tiap hari waktu makan siang saya pasti makan nasi gudeg. Dia ada nasi putih sama nasi nangka. Itu buah nangka itu rasanya manisan
Okay.
sama gulai ayam ya.
Oh.
Kalau bandingnya yang kedua itu aku suka makan emping ya. Nggak tahu empingnya itu easily available sini tak?
Bisa dapat
Bisa
juga,
dapat
tapi
ya.
in certain places.
Oh, tapi empingnya itu aku makan dengan sos manis ya.
Oh.
Itu emping selalu yang makan. Tapi saya lihat itu sekarangnya ada sembang papadom ya.
Yeah,
Papadom
equivalent to
aku kurang
emping.
makan.
Yeah, okay, right.
Mudah-mudahan dapat rasa sedikit nanti ya
yeah.
waktu makan siangnya.
Sure. Kita cuba dapatkan papadom so that it's boleh dapat Kat rasa juga ya.
Yeah.
Okay, 7 tahun di Indonesia ya, Madam Catherine. So selepas 7 tahun, what makes you come back to Malaysia?
Right.
What is the turning point for you to actually come back and work in Malaysia?
Right. So this is a very good question. Yeah. So when I was building up the whole business operations in Indonesia, it was really a fast-moving business economy that we have seen, especially the exponential expansion of opportunities in Indonesia. But in 2019 was a turning point for me. I actually chose to come back to Malaysia because I had a lot of offers and discussions with the government authorities, and also with a lot of opportunities on the ground that there is a need for return talents to come back to help to grow the economy, and especially the women in technology agenda. And one of the turning point that I had back then was I was approached by IBM Malaysia to come back to lead as the managing director for IBM Malaysia. And back then, it was an opportunity for me to do 3 things. Number one, to relocate myself back in the country to contribute to the growth of the IT industry. Number 2 is to drive the women agenda, which we feel that is a necessity as we exponentially grow the STEM opportunities and the career assessment to the women community. And number 3 is to be able to come back to actually learn and unlearn and to share my experiences that I've had across past 20 years. And coming back after 5 years is a breath of fresh air as I continue to make sure that not only our voice of the women in technology agenda is heard, but also more importantly is that aku bisa contribute in terms of building up the technology progression. Case in point, IBM Skills Build that we first invested in Polytechnic Balik Pulau was our initiative as part of our CSR movement in IBM Malaysia.
Right.
We wanted to build digital talents across the nation. Our contribution and commitment to Malaysia is to drive 5,000 ready student, I call it as ready job seekers to be prepared in the generation to come in the IT industry. And I'm proud to say that the partnership that IBM has with Polytechnic Balik Pulau was the first ever partnership that we are so proud to see that the not only the skills build is ready accessible, but it's a platform for us to grow the nation based on our digital talent skills build.
Right. Okay. So kembali kepada tadi yang Kat mention when you had this collaboration, you chose Polytechnic Balik Pulau. Indeed, we are very honoured to have that opportunity. Tapi agak curious ya, Kat we have quite a number of higher institutions in Malaysia, in the northern region, especially in Penang. Like in Penang itself, we have like 3 institutions Polytechnic. What makes you choose Polytechnic Balik Pulau? I know part of it could be your father was from Balik Pulau, yeah? So any special reason for you choosing Polytechnic Balik Pulau?
Right. When we did the whole institutionalization of selection, we were very impressed on the journey that we have had through. It was a very tough decision when we first put through. We have got 20 institutions that we were putting as in consideration.
Okay.
And that was higher institution, universities, and also polytechnics across the country. But what was the turning point for us that we have selected Polytechnic Balik Pulau as the first ever IBM Skills Build partnership here in this country was 3 things. Number one, it was the proposal that was put forth by Polytechnic Balik Pulau impressed upon our hearts that I would actually call it the dedication and the commitment of the Polytechnic staffs, the professors, the lecturers, and the pengarah itself was really on top of the selection. Number 2 was the students.
Okay.
We wanted to make sure that the students were able to commit to the IBM Skills Build education. And what do I mean by that? Polytechnic Balik Pulau back then was the only institution that had the ICT course
I see.
in their whole faculty.
Right.
And
Okay.
that was where we could do a very strong focus in making sure that we expand from the ICT. And I will attest to you that we did the right choice. We made the right commitment of choice in partnership with Polytechnic Balik Pulau. The last consideration that we did was the facility.
Okay.
I think the facility here impressed upon my heart that it is yet far, yet near, yet has everything. Yeah, I've never seen such a beautiful polytechnic
Thank you.
institution that has greenery, that is quiet,
Okay.
serene, and also an opportunity for us to grow.
Okay.
And I think the students here made a lot of impact. I think their
Right.
commitment to drive themselves to the next level. For us, we can continue to partner by providing the learning skills impartation to pensyarah, but it is really the students that can pick up.
All right.
And we hope that we can have the first batch of the Polytechnic Balik Pulau students into the ICT faculty and environment. And hopefully, kalau di bidang pemasaran, we hope to be able to see them successful in the field.
All right. Okay. So coming back to the IBM Skills Build, and I think, Kat, you had the opportunity. Tahun lepas kalau enggak silap saya, you managed to go around and have a look at the projects of the final year students project. So do you think that the projects that they are doing is actually in line with the industrial needs? And do you think that it's relevant to what we are moving forward to?
Oh, definitely. I was impressed ya. Terharu banget ya dengan prestasi projek-projek yang aku bilang dibina and diprestasi ya.
Yeah.
Last year when I was here, um, we qualified through 3 winners, and what was impressive of me is that I think the ability of the students to be innovative, yeah, inovasi, and also the second part is that they are relevant in the marketplace. Yeah, one of the projects that I've seen is to work with PBA on the water irrigation. Yeah,
Pihak
and
berkuasa air.
iya,
Okay.
pihak berkuasa air. Yeah, and the second part that I've seen also is that one of the education system that they have built across to incorporate that with MOE. I don't know where the students get the ideas from, but I am definitely sure that with all the pensyarah, with all the lecturers and with dari I call it as the guidance and the leadership from Puan Salmi, it really makes a lot of difference. Yeah, relevancy. If I were an investor, yeah, I call it. If I'm one of the investors, I would definitely invest in their projects. They would really become small SMEs that they can progress through to monetize the platform.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
and I'm so impressed that I'm not sure, Puan Sami, was it the guidance from
Yes.
yourself or the lecturer?
It is from the lecturers because when
Right.
they work on the project, they are being supervised by the lecturers themselves. So
Right.
basically, they put together the ideas.
Right.
So they would be supervising the whole thing. Of course, we try to solve the problems of the
Right.
community.
Right.
So that's why they managed to come up with certain ideas like that. You know, they can be utilized by PBA. And one of the projects is also was on the language, the dual language
Yeah.
that the students produce.
Ya, keren banget ya.
Yeah.
Kalau aku ada waktu lagi, the whole progression that I would like to do is to monetize and commercialize their platform ya.
Right.
Aku bilang kencang banget ya. Itu sesuatu yang aku tak pernah lihat di institusi yang lain ya. Itu
Right.
keren banget. Ya.
I see.
Ya.
Okay, selalunya kan, Kat, apabila pelajar ni dia menghasilkan the project, of course they are working on a very tight budget because sometimes they have to use their own money
Oh.
to come up with the project. So of course kita sangat gembira. We are very happy to hear that you are so into the project, and hopefully we have a better plan to have the products being commercialized if possible, yeah, with the guidance and of course some monetary lah, or the budgetary that we have for the students to actually work out rather than just the prototype, because what you saw the other day was more on the prototype.
Right.
But if they have ample budget, then they would be able to come out with a better products, I suppose.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Right.
Tapi to all the students out there, continue the great work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you are putting Polytechnic Balik Pulau to really a very, very, I call it to a spot in the institution academic environment that will be very competitive in the marketplace. Case in point, when I came into this studio, aku terharu banget ya. Because it's really what I call it as is a state of class communication and multimedia platform that you have. We do not compare with commercial platforms,
definitely. Yeah.
but from an institution platform, it is really a journey that I've seen so much that Polytechnic Balik Pulau has done. Yeah.
Sebahagiannya bekas Kat, kita di Politeknik Balik Pulau adalah IT, so kita cuba maximizekan apa yang kita ada dalam bidang kita, not only on teaching and learning, but hopefully what we can give back to the community based on apa yang kita promotekan, ya, based on our promosi, maybe the community can also benefit what we have around here, not only in terms of knowledge but facilities. Maybe they can come and we can promote Balik Pulau in terms of, you know, fishing and things like that.
Right. Yeah, and Puan Sami, I think one of the more progressive observations that I have is that it's the students themselves, yeah, and the pensyarah, my goodness. I mean, the level of commitment that they have. Aku lagi ingat ya waktu MCO tu, because it was a very good time for us to drive the IBM Skills Build, kerana we are less of a distraction, yeah.
Okay. At that point, yeah.
At that point in time, yeah. So I think when IBM came into the partnership with IBM Skills Build, it was really the right time. Mau nggak mau, 2 years into where we were into building up IBM Skills Builds with Polytechnic Balik Pulau, it was the right time because we had lesser distraction and also more focus. Yeah, um, the whole ability for us to build is also relying on the students. So I must give it to the sieving of the students' qualification into Polytechnic. I think is really the best. Is the best modeling that I've seen so far. Yeah. Yeah. So to all the listeners out there itu, Polytechnic Balik Pulau itu bukan saja I call it as a good platform for education. Makanan juga ingat banget ya.
Yeah.
Di kantin itu selalunya udah 5 tahun aku di jalan-jalan di seluruh negara di
Okay.
Malaysia and
Yeah.
also now in ASEAN region.
Okay.
Nasi tomato di sini paling best. Ya.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have the nasi tomato waiting for you
Yeah,
after this.
yeah,
All right.
paling
Okay, Madam Catherine. Kita bercakap tentang the current trend. We talk about AI. Yeah, artificial intelligence. So, apabila bercakap tentang AI ini, what is the impact that you think IBM has on AI, especially in the education sector? Because AI is very big.
Right.
Yeah. So, in particular, in the education sector itself.
Right. So maybe I'll just give a context AI and a journey. Yeah, and I am also quite impressed with the fact that the local institutions in Malaysia is already compounding AI as a module as part of their IT in the IT faculty. Yeah.
Right.
So AI to all our dear listeners out there is artificial intelligence and is a generative artificial intelligence, a generative AI industry that we are all into. Wherever you are, whatever you do, whether you lead your life every day, some form and shape you are already into AI.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whether it's a Waze, is a Chat GPT that you're on, is a solutioning of your Google Map, is a Grab. You are already living on the AI world. Now, generative AI has compounded over the past many months. And that means that how do you build a AI platform to be relevant in the marketplace? Case in point, in our academic world, we have actually seen that the AI utilization is helping the students to be more efficient, to learn in a much more effective manner, and to leverage on what we call it as a platform. Most of all, for the lecturers, is important because it enables them to be more effective in delivering their lectures to the students.
Right.
At IBM, what we have built in the IBM Skills Build to give accessibility to the students is a AI module that will help them understand what is the function and the importance of AI in their natural world and how do they compound it to be relevant in their workplace. Case in point, recently IBM Skills Build has incorporated the mainframe, the Z platform IO Ops, or they call it as AI Ops, into the modules. And I'm quite impressed to see that 55 of the Polytechnic students has already been certified. Now, what is relevant for them as they move forward to the marketplace is that they will be able to understand the AI portfolio in a much more deeper manner and be more productive in the jobs that they do, or also in the application of jobs that they are heading to. Yeah, and in many words, the AI adoption will be very relevant in our daily lives. And last year, IBM has just launched a platform called the Watson X AI platform.
Right.
And this generative AI will help customers and organizations across the world to drive for AI platform usage, for governance, and mainly for data management.
Okay.
And hopefully, we will compound it and make it available in the IBM Skills Build for the institutions that are practicing the modules that we are holding today.
Okay. All right. Okay. Now, moving towards AI, I would like to draw your attention to the role of women. Okay. Now, currently kita tengok dalam workforce, wanita ini cuma make up a small percentage of the workforce, especially in the technology industry. And what more when you talk about the small fraction, even smaller fraction of women holding posts in the bigger industries and things like that. So, what has been the biggest challenge as someone who has been in the technology industry for quite some time, you mentioned 28 years is now. So what is the biggest challenge that you have faced so far?
Right. So IT, bidang IT itu um, is a very competitive industry,
Mm.
and it is has been a male dominated industry for decades.
Okay.
Now IT industry is quite aggressive in terms of technology advancements. Therefore the industry is very demanding as compared to many other stable industries.
Mm.
So women has many roles in their lives.
Yeah.
Women being a mother, a sister, a daughter, has the responsibility to prioritize a lot of work-life balance,
Mm.
much more than men in the industry. That's why for decades, men has been dominating the IT industry, which is a much more demanding industry than many others.
Mm.
Of late, over a decade or so, you would have seen an increase of women in technology, the understanding for STEM
Mm.
to be introduced, and for women to increase up their ability to drive the IT, the ability to be present at the seat, at the table,
Right.
for them to be heard of. So one of the initiatives that we have largely done in Women in Technology is to continue to drive the importance of technology with women.
Mm.
Now, if you look at AI, it's interesting statistics that repetitive jobs
Mm.
and repetitive tasks will be taken over by AI.
Mm-mm.
And in that quadrant, you will see that it's largely portfolios and jobs that are more mandate in as a job seekers by women.
Okay.
Case in point,
Mm.
marketing
Right.
activity,
Right.
marketing roles, HR roles,
Mm.
and also business operations role.
Mm.
In many years to come, these jobs and tasks will be taken over by AI,
Mm.
and in a compounding way that it will be more efficient of output to organizations and also to the jobs that they are. So we have been encouraging women to upskills themselves, to leverage and complement AI in their job portfolio so that they will continue to be relevant to build up themselves in the technology world.
Yeah.
Yeah. And more importantly is that if you've seen Polytechnic Balik Pulau, how the demography
Mm.
of male versus female
Mhm.
students, you will be able to see the same similar demography outside in the marketplace.
Okay.
Our intention is to drive more than 30% participation
Mm.
and 30% of women in tech in the workforce as we move forward.
Alright. Okay. Now, Kat, saya difahamkan Kat juga pernah memenangi anugerah Women in Tech Award for the private sector and NGOs at the prestigious World Innovation Technology and Services Alliance WITSA Global Innovation and Tech Excellence Awards 2023. Now, Kat, you menjadi satu role model tidak hanya kepada para pelajar but also pada pensyarah, especially di Politeknik Balik Pulau. So, what is your advice to the students especially who wish to pursue their careers in this line?
Right.
Mm.
So over the years, I have been promoting women in technology, and I'm humbled by the opportunity to receive the World Congress Award last year.
Mm.
When I was interviewed at the Congress, and what it meant for me on the award winning, it is really a dedication to all of the women out there.
Mm.
Three things that I've been sharing throughout the journey is that the IT industry and the environment is not for faint heart. Yeah,
Mm.
it is really not for faint heart that you can actually come in to expect that you get a 9 to 6 job.
Mm.
It is a job that you would have to continue to progress.
Mm.
And my advice to all the listeners out there is, number one is that you need to have the ability to upskill yourself every day,
Mm.
because technology is it is so compounding at the speed of change that if you don't upskill yourself every day, you will lose out in the marketplace. And I have committed myself to 50 hours of learning every year. And for a non-academic like yourself, Puan Salmi, is a lot, considering that we don't run academic reading. Out of my outside daily life, outside work, I commit 50 hours to learning. And I learn a lot now about AI.
Okay.
And I learn a lot now how to be relevant in the marketplace. Number two is that continue to break your glass ceiling, because the glass ceiling is our limitation. What I've realized for the women out there, that does not take much more bigger role. It's not about the ability. Is sometimes they fear themselves, but when you actually peel the onions, and so many mentor sessions that I've done, it's really, they always doubt their ability to do more.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is where to the women out there is that continue to break the glass ceiling, because you are the limitation to what
Right.
you can do of the impossibility.
Right.
I mean, case in point, look at Puan Salmi. Yeah, I have so much of respect for her. Yeah, ever since she has taken on the RAM as pengarah Polytechnic Balik Pulau, right? I think so much of new ideas, new initiatives, new innovations they have done. Such a good leader they have seen, but also balancing her life and her career is not easy feat. Yeah. As we look at ICT, the topology that I've done and the demography I've seen is that women will continue to pace themselves stagnant at the age of 40s. Yeah. Because when they want to plateau through to take on the bigger roles, there comes more responsibilities.
Yes.
Kids
Correct.
are growing up.
Yep.
Parents-in-law are growing old.
Yep.
And they have to support their husband also, on the other hand, for him to drive the career.
Right.
So the tipping point, where I always give a lot of sharing, is that which area do you choose? Do you
Okay.
move forward, or do you actually stagnant and then move forward? So my sharing is that there's no right or wrong answer,
Okay.
but it's an answer that you got to be fulfilling as an individual,
Right.
as a leader, to encompass all that you have, and you move forward to the ability to have a more balanced view as to where you are.
Right.
Lastly is that always continue to challenge yourself to do better. It is a demanding work. Just case in point, Puan Salmi, I'm sure that she has spent so many hours commuting around every day,
Yeah.
even to work,
Yeah.
and also to be driving through the leadership works. Is that it is really about continue to stay relevant, and don't ever give up. Yeah, because when you feel that you're tired, kalau udah capek,
Yeah.
you must understand that there is also many more out there that is
Right.
looking at you as a role model.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in my parting note, Polytechnic Balik Pulau has taught me one thing. When I journeyed through with them on IBM Skills Build, selalu senyum aja, and never give up in where they are. I mean, they is a true testament that I say that is not the most sizable institution in Malaysia, but they have been doing the impossibility to drive the IBM Skills Build and building up the digital agenda in the nation. Itu yang aku terharu banget.
I see.
And the messaging is the same outside. You don't have to be the best. You just need to have the best quality, the right attitude, and you will be successful in life.
Alright, thank you very much. Okay, so kita boleh dapat daripada apa yang Madam Catherine cakap tadi, yang saya nak rumuskan, the last bit tu ada 3 benda. Kita mestilah selalu reskilling ourselves every day, yeah. And the glass is the ceiling, and always challenge yourself in order to become a better person. Baik, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan sekalian, kita sudah pun sampai ke penghujung rancangan. Terima kasih Catherine, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time here despite your busy schedule. Untuk makluman para penonton dan pendengar, Madam Catherine bergerak terus daripada Singapura pagi tadi untuk bersama-sama kita di Sembang Papedom pada pagi ini. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Dan kepada penaja kita pada pagi ini, di Myra Layer Cake, terima kasih banyak-banyak, and we wish you all the best in your future undertakings. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.